Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, future Jiu-Jitsu world champion, Angel Ortega. Ladies and gentlemen, it is UFC 283 Fight Week. We made it, boys. We made it to a pay-per-view. It's been a long month. We had to sit through two Sean Strickland main events. You know, it's been a long time coming, but we finally got one. However, we got a lot of stuff to talk about outside of that. Obviously, we do got to go over UFC Vegas 6-7, Misfits Boxing 4 with KSI making his return.
Let's go, champ!
Let's go, champ! And also, though, we're doing things a little bit unorthodox today. We're actually going to be doing news first because there's been so much of it that we got to go over. And I think it's, ultimately the more pressing news of the show. But look, dude, before we get into all that, as always, two fantastic sponsors of the show, Rogue Energy and ELYXR. RogueEnergy.com. They've been a fantastic sponsor of the show for years. I always use them when I'm trying to get pumped up to go to the gym, get myself in the right mood and just fucking get that work in, Angel, you know what it's like. Use Rogue Energy.
Fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah, you know what it's like. But look, man, whenever if you're looking for the opposite, if you're not somebody who's into the gym, maybe you're looking to chill out, I use those products often. ELYXR.com. Code Soundoff, 10% off. Get really high, Delta 8, 9 to 10 products, HHC. They also introduce mushrooms as well. You can get the gummies, get the discs, do whatever you want.
You said mushrooms?
Huh?
You said mushrooms?
Yes, mushrooms. They have been added to ELYXR.
This is a new edition?
This is a new edition.
Have you been educated more on this? Or
I have not educated myself more on this topic.
Okay.
But I am aware that I've been educating myself on some HHC cookies, actually.
Okay, we'll talk about this off air. This is actually
we'll talk about this off air, but if you guys want to educate yourself, go to ELYXR.com, code Soundoff, 10% off. Fantastic sponsor, as well as Rogue Energy. But look, dude, I said earlier, we're going to kick it off with some news because, a year-long, very rarely does the UFC have like a year-long, I guess storyline is the way to put it. I understand it's not scripted, but Francis Ngannou, we've known for a year now, over a year, that his next fight with the UFC was a very good possibility of it being his last. And that last fight came against Cyril Gane, UFC 270, in January 2022. He picked up the win despite having one leg, wins by decision. And since then, it's almost like the MMA world forgot about Ngannou for like that, 8 or 9 months. Because only in the last few months have we kind of heard like, oh yeah, he's getting back in the training room. His knee's feeling, it's not great. It's not 100, but he's getting there, We're talking about him and Jones. And, well, to be fair, we've been talking about him and Jones for like ever. But, we were getting close, man. But Angel, Francis Ngannou, the Predator, is no longer with the UFC. He has been stripped of his heavyweight gold. He is now a 100% free agent. UFC has no interest in matching any offers. He's gone. But also, while a star is leaving, a star is returning because John Bones Jones is slated to fight Cyril Gane at UFC 285 in March for undisputed heavyweight gold. Signed a new 8-fight deal, and he will be the second highest paid UFC fighter in UFC history, next to Conor McGregor. Angel, it's a lot to take in. It's the big news. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's thinking about it. What are your thoughts, man? I feel like this is kind of, we knew this outcome was possible, but even seeing it now in reality, it's crazy.
It's wild, man. One of my favorite phrases to use on this show. But, what can you say? I mean, everything is done. Kind of Dana, obviously, anytime a fighter exits, he gives his piece, it's almost like if I died at my, like my ex went to my funeral, and she talks shit, it's almost like what it is. But, nevertheless, I mean, it seems like all the money that they were supposedly offering Francis and everything they promised and that they were going to give him, and well, I'm assuming Francis obviously ended up rejecting. They decided to give it to John. Because on top of that, Josh, we found out that John received a new 8-fight deal, which is wild to me that John took that. Apparently, John is now one of the highest paid fighters ever in the UFC. I think only behind Conor McGregor is what they were saying, right?
Yeah, correct.
Which, if that's true, who knows what the specifics are, what the numbers are, but I mean, I guess well deserved to John, right? I mean, he's been in the UFC forever. Obviously, his career speaks for itself, regardless of what you think about his persona or whatever. I mean, his performances in the Octagon are self-explanatory. You just go watch it. I mean, go on ESPN Plus or UFC Fight Pass, and you can watch all fucking 20-something of the fights and watch his career from the start to the end. I mean, he's been doing it since he was a young guy, and it seems like it's paid off, right? I mean, respect where respect is due. Get your money, get your bag. But at the same time, we have to give we got to say the same thing to the opposite end, and hopefully they do get that too. And France is right. I think all of us people who keep up with the sport on a pretty regular basis, especially us who watch the UFC every weekend, or at least watch every pay-per-view, are kind of heartbroken, man, to see Francis go. I mean, we were ready to see Francis versus Jones. I mean, that was the big matchup, that was the creme of the crop. This is going to be it. Rumble in the jungle. Let's do it. Let's get it done. It's not happening now. And I guess Francis hopefully will go a different direction, get his money, and he wants to do boxing bad, and hopefully he gets that big time boxing match, because I think that's the big thing. If he's to take this gamble on himself and believe in himself, in the end, you want to see him win, and you want to see him have the positive outcome of him making his money and having success. And at the end of the day, right, whatever he deems as success is completely different as what we see in the outside. Maybe Francis just wants to make a fuck ton of money, retire, and be happy. That's it.
Yeah, man. There's a lot that goes into this. There really is. And I think you mentioned there how Dana went ahead and did his little spiel that he does every single time a guy leaves UFC. The whole, he just doesn't really want to compete at this level, anymore. Angel, he had a rough knee injury, he isn't sure about it, because, everybody knows that Francis Ngannou, the guy that grew up in sand mines as a child, working in sand mines. Everybody knows he's fucking terrified of fighting, Everybody knows. The hardest hitting man to ever step foot in the octagon, the UFC's heavyweight champion. He's so scared of competition in that coming back, he just can't do it, Look, man, it is kind of weird to have this news happen, because it's like you have really one of the GOATs. I mean, John's a top. I mean, you can put him in the GOAT. If you do that, I got no problem with it. I have him probably like top 3, I'd say. Fedor and DJ and John have always been my kind of generally been my 3. Maybe throw in Silva, replace him with John, or GSP. But that's kind of generally my thoughts. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's finally returning, and he's facing Cyril Gane. And on normal circumstances, that's like, fuck yeah, man! Like, give me that, inject it into my veins. And to be clear, I'm still like that. You know what I mean? I'm still pumped up. Come March, I'm gonna be booling. But for right now, I'm a little bit sad.
I mean, shit, Josh, we might even be there.
Yeah. I mean, it is something we're in discussions about.
Courtside Soundoff, podcast is reaching out to the bank to see if we'd
it's just if we put it on the company card.
If we put it on the company card, get that little write off. I mean, it's a business trip, right?
It is a business trip. Business expenses, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, regardless, man. I mean, in terms of the Ngannou stuff, it's just sad. I mean, you have like this guy who's people say he's not a draw, and he's not a huge draw, but he's still a relatively well-known name, And fuck, dude, like people say like, oh, he's not a draw, he doesn't deserve to be paid that much. Well, like fuck, man, like he's a guy who grew up in the sand mines. His life story could be made into a movie. He's the hardest hitting puncher in the history of the company. If the guy's not a draw, maybe Dana White isn't as good at his job as you think he is. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't make that guy into a draw, then what the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just depressing. I mean, he is the greatest heavyweight on the planet, and until he loses, that will be the case. And he's no longer in the UFC, which is supposed to be the best fight organization. And you had Jones and Ngannou, which is that's lightning in a bottle. That's one of the few fights that UFC can make where it's like, holy shit, like casuals be like, oh shit, like we gotta watch this. You know what I mean? And to be fair, John's mythos has only grown since he's been gone. Like, there are tons of fans that are fans of the sport now that were not fans last time John fought. But they've heard about John for 3 years. So, you know, that's another big factor in it. But in terms of the news, I mean, it's good and bad news all at the same time, you know? Like, we're missing out on Ngannou and Jones and seeing Ngannou, the end of his career on a good note, you know? And, you know, as long as he's happy, I suppose that's the important part. But this is more of a respect thing above all else. Like, they did offer him a lot of money, but he wanted respect, and he wanted the ability to be seen, like, you know, like Conor McGregor got the ability to go fight Floyd Mayweather. They let Ben Askren go fight Jake Paul, you know what I mean? Like, they've let people do this sort of shit in the past, but when it comes to Ngannou, they're like, no, man. Like, no, you're not going to be allowed to fight Fury or go box in any capacity. So he's like, all right, well, see you later then, you know? So,
do you think there's any possibility Josh there's ever a return?
Never say never.
I mean, it is a hard question to answer. I don't blame you for not giving a yes or no answer. I really don't.
I mean, it's a never say never type of situation.
Right. I mean, anything could happen, right? I mean, that's. I mean, maybe it isn't all done. Maybe in a not so far future, maybe he comes back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, we'll see, man. I mean, I think that there's a reasonable possibility of returning one day, but at the same time, Ngannou's older than people think. I believe he's 36, coming off a knee injury.
It's heavyweight.
It is heavyweight. But
never taken a lot of damage either in his career. Like,
but Ngannou doesn't. He's never really struck me as a guy who's here for the long haul. I don't think he's necessarily in this for like. He doesn't want to do this until he's like 40.
Nothing wrong with
45.
that,
It's not for everybody.
No, I get that.
But, I mean, I suppose we'll see. I mean, there is a reasonable possibility, especially considering, like, if he does truly just want to get out and go box once and just test his true ability. And that's the type of shit I'm down for, man. Like, just putting your all into something and seeing what happens. And I think that's what he wants to do. And if that is the case, like, I can't
that
be
Jamal
mad.
Hill shit, dude. That little clip he had on Ariel, you know?
Exactly. Like, I can't be mad about that, man. Like, go for it, man. And if he does lose or he wins, and it's like, well, shit, I want to fight in MMA at least one more time. Like, does PFL or Bellator or Ryzen have the money? I don't necessarily know. So, I mean, there is a discussion to be had there. I just don't know. I mean, it's so far out.
That's the other big question, though. Where does he go? Where do you think?
I mean, who are the big contenders? PFL, Bellator, PFL, One Championship, Ryzen Boxing. That's his 5. BKFC if you want. Throw in a 6th one. You know what I mean?
God, could you imagine Francis and BKFC?
Yeah, he'd murder somebody. I mean, I'd say the most realistic options, PFL and boxing. Because PFL has that super fight division where they're a lot like if you're like you enter the super fight division, you'll get 50%. They get a 50% cut of the pay-per-view, I believe. Like it'll be split between you and the other main eventer, I believe. But like you'll make, I guess technically it'd be 25% of the pay-per-view. But you see my point. You know what I mean? Like, that's better than when you got under the UFC. You know what I mean? So, and then plus in boxing, I mean, I do think people are overestimating how easy it will be for him to get a huge boxing match. Just because, like, he's not going to get Fury. That's not going to happen.
I mean, Josh Butterbean, you know.
The only way he's going to fight Fury is if Fury vacates his belts, if he beats Usyk. If he loses to Usyk, he's probably just going to retire. Or rematch him, but like...
What high-profile boxer do you think he does fight?
Chisora.
Oh my god.
I could see him signing a 2-fight deal with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and fighting Chisora, and then maybe AJ at the end of the year or something.
You know, I feel and I mean, Josh, I don't know, maybe this could be some hard speculation here out of me. If he did, decide to not take the UFC, route, and they offered him supposedly this grand amount of money. And I'm assuming the contract wasn't favorable in some capacity on top of that. And he's betting on himself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming, I don't know this for a fact, obviously pure speculation. He has to be in talks, if not in advanced conversations, with someone in some capacity. Right?
Not necessarily.
But I mean, there's no way
because Dana's announcement Dana's announcement was, when he came out, after the event, was saying that, like, the reason why he made that announcement was to announce the fight between Jones and Gane, obviously. But the other reason is because he was stating that the UFC is not going to go ahead and, they are ending their, I talked about this whenever Nate was a free agent. The UFC has 90 days after a fighter's contract ends to exclusively negotiate. And the UFC has the ability to extend that to 90 days, and they decided to cut it short. Because I think Ngannou's contract technically expired in late December, and they just cut it short. And that's what that announcement was. Like, hey, he's now able to go and negotiate with other people. I'm sure he's negotiating now, but prior to Saturday, probably not. Especially considering they were trying to come down hard on him when he might have not even been talking to people prior to the Gane fight.
I mean, who knows though? He has to have at least someone, something.
Possible, yeah, for sure, it's possible.
I just can't believe that,
Yes.
It's already done like this, and he's not. I don't know. I'll put it like this: I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we heard an announcement, or the next day, or today. But
well, that would be our luck. But
that's what I'm saying. I mean, that would be our luck, Josh. So just wait for fucking Francis to announce that he's fighting, Alexander Usyk in May.
Houston Alexander and BKFC.
Come on.
No, but anyways, I mean, it's probably about time to move on. We spent like 15 minutes on the subject, but definitely interesting news. But speaking of fight announcements, we got a lot of them for this section. Jake Paul, this one just broke right now, actually. So Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, it's set February 25th at a location to be determined. I've heard rumors of Saudi Arabia, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I saw that as well.
But yeah, Jake Paul, Tommy Fury going down. Third time's a charm. Angel, first reaction, man. I mean, I feel like
they're finally gonna do it. They're finally gonna get it done.
You think so? You really think it? You think it actually happens?
Yeah.
You're straight up about it. You don't even think there's a possibility that due to some fuck shit it will not happen.
I hope
this is basically
not.
the lame version of Habib and Tony, is what I'm saying.
Nah, the lame version. Come on, Josh. This is the better version.
Oh, you're fucking high, but okay.
Well, Josh.
ELYXR.com, Courtside.
I do have my ELYXR gummies right here. That I just took. The party pack. Code Soundoff at checkout.
Go see Avatar.
Shipping not included. But no.
The parking lot.
Come on, Josh. Oh, we need to bring it back.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
But no, I think the matchup does happen. I don't know why I wouldn't. And also on top of that, dude, I really don't know who Jake fight at this point. You know what I mean? Like, this is the only one that kind of makes sense. It's a name that we're kind of aware of and everybody kind of knows. So what better trying to do? He's a pro boxer, it's another, come on. Like, it's pretty good for Jake at this point to take this match. And he seems to be in a pretty good spot. Pretty good. Battle tested. Has rounds under his belt. I want to see it. And there's beef there, and I think it'll sell well, and I think it'll be one of the best promoted matchups that he's had outside of all of them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, dude, I understand why they're booking it again. And, look, I'm not mad at it necessarily.
Come on, Josh. Just fucking admit it. You're DTF, dude.
I am 100% DTF, but that's besides the point. No, no, but when it comes to this fight, dude, it's kind of weird because, I mean, how can I phrase this? It's like Jake Paul has built himself up very intelligently. He's taken the right steps. You know what I mean? Like, he's done, not everything's perfect. Not everything's been flawless. He's had 2 canceled fights with Tommy. I think most people wanted him to be tested sooner than he was. Like, I feel like Anderson's probably his first real test in a lot of people's eyes. But at the same time, it's like, why would you go risk it and go fight Tommy Fury? Why would you risk it? You know what I mean? Because I don't think anybody values Tommy Fury highly anymore. And I mean, I think he's all right. I think there's a very good chance he could beat Jake. I think there's a very good and a very high probability that happens. But even if he does, the average person will be like, oh yeah, Tommy Fury's ass. Like, why would I care about Jake Paul now? You know what I mean? He just signed a deal with PFL. He was in talks with Nate, which just randomly apparently went terribly. I can only assume.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's just bizarre. I mean, what do you, I mean, do you think, what are your thoughts on like, that sort of, looking at it through that way? Like, Jake Paul has a very good chance of destroying everything he's built by fighting in a matchup that most people don't probably care about.
Fuck it, he could, but he wants to fight. He's doing a decent turnaround. He's being active. I mean, I think the more important thing is getting active, being in there and getting time in. I think that's the big thing for him. I think he wants to be as prepared as he can be for. I think we're not far from his most dangerous match. I don't know what it's. I'm saying this without knowing, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
His most dangerous matchup, whatever that may be. I don't know who it's going to be or what it's going to be, but there's going to come a time where Jake's going to announce an opponent, and it's like, damn, he bit off. You know, he beat. What's the saying? The fucking bit too much off the apple. What the fuck's the saying? I can't even think of it.
Bit off too much to chew.
Bit off too much to chew. That's the fucking saying. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. He bit off too much to chew, and that's going to happen at some point. And I feel like that's why he's being so active, because I don't know what his end goal is or who he plans to negotiate. But at some point, Josh, in not the so far future, I think Jake's going to take some matchup where it's like, yeah, Jake's probably going to lose this. Like, there's no doubt about it. There's no way he wins this, you know? But I think he wants to be as ready as he can, because from the sounds of it and the way he talks to Josh, I mean, he has this delusional belief. He's talking about Canelo and fucking, I forgot who else he said, some other big time boxers. It's like,
talked to Chris Eubank Jr. one time too, I remember.
I think he just wants to get to that one big fight, Josh, and make stupid money, and then he's done.
Yeah, probably.
I've always said that. I've always said people take Jake too serious. You know, they think him saying he's a pro boxer or wants to be a world champion. All of this is serious. It's serious in the sense of he wants to get to that point, but not necessarily put in the time, but not the, you know, I mean, some of these guys have been doing this for 2 decades, and what I mean by that, since they were fucking in their late teens into their 20s and pushing into their 30s, you know, becoming world champ. But I don't know, he's trying to do the accelerated process and just get that payday. You know, I think that's what it's always been. People always are. I feel like I'm rambling on here, Josh, but what I'm trying to get to this, and I've always said this, is everybody thinks Jake is taking this super serious when I think he is and he isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Jake doesn't plan on fucking winning a title and defending it fucking 5 times or anything like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Jake just wants to get to that one big match and then be done. And it's always been that, and people just need to admit it to themselves. He's not in it for the long haul. He does not want to be a pro boxer, really. I genuinely believe he doesn't. I think he likes the lifestyle in some aspects. I think he's grown to enjoy the training. And obviously he's an athletic guy from what we've seen throughout his life, and he likes. I think he does like the competition. Obviously, he likes winning. He likes those aspects, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know if it's as much as some of these other guys, you know. Just Jake already had money, you know. He kind of already had money. He just wants more, and I don't think Jake necessarily wants that fucking glory that these guys want. These guys who are legitimately chasing the stream.
Yeah, and you know what's, I guess I did think about that. I did think about it that way. I mean, I've always kind of pondered what Jake's actual end goal is. Because if he believes that it's, you know, facing Canelo, he's fucking crazy.
That's what I'm saying. It can't be that. It's
but
never made sense.
Jake's also, I don't know, man. I sometimes I wonder. Because I think you're generally correct. I think you're generally
but he's made too many calculated decisions, too many right decisions. He's not dumb, you know. I mean, he said some dumb shit.
If you want to become like an actual champion and fight Canelo, he'd be taking steps upwards, whereas I feel like Tommy Fury is kind of like a lateral move at best. You know what I mean?
Well, look, the thing is, Jake could have fucking fought 5 times in Mexico last year. You know, you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's true. He also that's probably the biggest part that makes me agree with you is he only fought once, and I don't care that you can be like, oh well, you know, it's actually Hasim Rahman's fault because you know like or it's Tommy Fury's fault because like oh yada 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 because they pulled out or there was issues with those fights, but like that fight wasn't even scheduled till August. He fought in early December 2021. Like, he could have booked a fight before that. He could have booked anybody else. He's out here trying to get big paydays and keep his name kind of in the spotlight, and also trying to move on to just like a combat sports career where he can probably be like a personality as well. Because with his PFL deal, he's going to be part fighter, part promoter. And apparently that part fighter part, we're already, like, that may already not happening. Depending on how things go. I mean, if he announced he's signing with the PFL, oh yeah, I'm going to fight in MMA, I'm going to fight Nate Diaz in PFL, and we're going to box. And then like a week later announcing that, oh, actually I'm going to be boxing Tommy Fury with no mention of the PFL, like, it's a little bit, I don't know. But I mean, we probably move on from this one because, I mean, the news is taking a bit longer than I expected, but there's been a lot of announcements, so they do kind of got to be fair.
Yeah.
Next up, dude, this one's not a fight announcement, but we'll cap it off with fight announcements. Don't worry. James Krause. James Krause.
This came out early last week, by the way, right? Like very early in the week.
It came out, I believe, like late last week. But yeah, it came out last week.
Okay.
Yeah. So James Krause, who, it's been awesome since we've talked about the situation, and I feel like people, news outlets, podcasts, I don't know if they do their entire due diligence when they discuss this sort of thing. That's part of the reason why we like to talk about it. Because this is massive news, and it puts our sport in jeopardy in a way. And I feel like we're getting into a good place. It's the 30th anniversary of the UFC this year, you know what I mean? Like, we've made a lot of strides in terms of being taken seriously as a sport, and I feel like 2023 is just taking us a huge step back, you know what I mean? Already, having just started. And James Krause is going to jail for a while, man. I mean, it's been a while since we talked about it, but it's apparently ESPN was the first to break the news that he, since 2019, so 4 years now. I guess he probably ended it last year, but you know what I mean. He worked as a agent for an offshore betting company. And since 2019, and apparently he would help, if you don't know what an agent means, essentially he would help people sign up with this offshore booking company. He's essentially the middleman. He'd attract bettors in. That was his job. And he would help them sign up, give them the account, yada, yada, yada. And that's just on top of the fact that I guess like ESPN also found some old Discord messages with our boy Jeff Molina, who, if you guys know, he's not fighting right now. This is the more interesting part of the story. He basically, in a Discord post in the chat that James Krause had for his 3% Club, which was the name of his betting service, or like the betting tips he would give in podcasts and shit like that. I believe like Jeff Molina said like, oh, like I paid off my house, my mortgage, my car with Krause's tips. He's got injury news before anybody else. And I believe this, I'm paraphrasing very slightly here, but Angel, I'm not sure if you heard this quote. Jeff Molina, they caught him in the chat with the boys saying outside of MMA, they call this insider training. In MMA, they call this the James Krause. So, these guys are really fucking stupid, and they're going to go to jail for a while. But, I mean, latest thoughts on the James Krause news, Jeff Molina getting pulled into it as well. I mean, for a flyweight prospect, just disappointing. Right.
I mean, it's continuing to unfold, right? I mean, and look, he's a very young kid. I think he probably just got cut up in this shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, how old is Jeff Molina? Can you pull it up? I mean, he's in his early 20s, very early. He's not much
like that.
Not really much older than us, I don't believe. I don't know. He might be a little older than what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just I think unfortunate luck for him. Maybe I don't know. Maybe at the time, maybe he needed money. The fighter lifestyle isn't always the cheapest or most affordable at times. Not necessarily because of the expenses, but because of you're just not making enough money. Yeah, here I just look it up. He's 25. He's a kid,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, he's been, I don't know how long he's been with Glory MMA, but I'm assuming quite a while at least a decent bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
At least, like I'm saying, at least in his early 20s. If this is all true and he did get wrapped up in this, I do want to genuinely believe that it's because of just being young and not being aware.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say about this, man. It's just disappointing. I mean, Because now not only do you have a guy like, it's one thing to have like Krause go down, but now to also have like Jeff Molina go down and to have this.
Well, not even Jeff Molina, Joshua. We were Derek Minner too. Ooh.
Derek Minner, that's another one. Yeah,
there's other guys who are extremely close to Krause. Obviously this not might be the end of it. I mean, there's other people in that gym.
He coaches a lot of big names.
So we got Tim Elliott in there, Bono Martinez. You know, there's some other guys.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very, very interesting. But we'll have to see what happens. Obviously, nothing's final here, but probably time to move on because we got another fight announcement. Leon Rocky Edwards, Kamaru Usman. We've been hearing about Kamaru having an injury. We weren't sure if it was going to go down, but ladies and gentlemen, it is UFC 286 in London, the O2. We done it, baby. We made it. Let's go. I am very excited for this. They made it official. There were rumors it would not happen because due to an injury, a hand injury from Kamaru, but it will apparently happen. So, look, man. Thoughts? Is this the right move? Are you excited? So on and so forth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're running it back in England, which is kind of nice for Leon, right? He's kind of getting his moment, which is awesome. Obviously, being disrespected, not being loved enough, and obviously Kamaru. I mean, obviously he deserves every opportunity at this title. He defended it for so long. He was dominant for a while there, and he was getting in a position to be the baddest man on the planet there for a bit. I mean, what other way could you go with this division right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do know that they had other options, but I'm cool with this fight, man. I mean, I think this was the right move. I'm happy that they're making it. I'm obviously, would I have liked to see Hamza or somebody else, get, a title shot too?
Wow, Josh. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I would, but I'm just saying, like,
dude, I should cancel.
This was realistically, if Kamaru was healthy, this is the only.
It's crazy, Josh. I saw you in James Krause's Discord.
Shut the fuck up, please. Please shut the fuck up.
What's really funny? I thought about joining that Discord before all this shit unfolded.
They'll have your ads on the stand. It's a good thing you didn't.
No, I shit you not. I almost joined it. I know we're kind of going off topic here now.
No, I know. No, here's the thing is I also looked into it because I was like, I like James Krause, Like, seemed like
I was about to join it. I think a week or two before all this shit unfolded, I was about to join it. Like, I was going to be like, I'll pay for it. I'll try it. Why not? Let's just see how it is.
You're about to end up at the fucking clink, man.
They're running numbers for the mob and shit out here, dude.
Man, it's just fucking crazy. That's all I got to say about it, man. It's just, it's fucking crazy to have this sort of thing happen, but time to move on, man. Because there's not a whole lot to say about, honestly, Rocky and Kamaru 3. We know what's going to happen. We had a feeling for a while. Obviously, it's good to get confirmation, but we'll see what happens, man.
I think more or less on the location, but we kind of already knew where likely than not it was going to be at,
One quick thing about the location, I'm honestly a little bit pissed off about that.
Why, motherfucker?
Because you had a chance to do it in a stadium and you're doing it at the O2.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, I would have preferred them to do something.
The O2 is still sick, man. I mean, don't be like that. Come on.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting card, though, because now, I mean, do you see that Patty is not going to be on that one?
Yeah, but he's going to be back in a kind of... Hey, but we found out he got injured in the first round, though.
Yeah, he got injured, and he's going to be out. He's scheduled for surgery in March, so it's going to be a while.
But that's how it goes.
Yeah, but anyways, man, last news, Bellator. Bellator, man, they are, I've thought Bellator's been stuck in like a weird kind of pattern for a while. But I feel like Bellator in 2023 has a chance to do some big things. Specifically, Fedor Bator 2 is going to be happening next month. However, they also announced a lightweight Grand Prix. It's been look, man, they have these every once in a while. And right now, the bantamweight one's going on. There's a lot of weird shit that happened in it, but overall, it's been pretty fun. And generally, these are pretty fucking fun. The light heavyweight one, which just came to an end last year, that one was fucking sick. They had the heavyweight one all the way back in the day with, just speaking of it, I mean, Fedor and Bader, they were both in there. But now it's the lightweight division. Bellator, in my opinion, arguably their best division. It's happening, man. Usman Nurmagomedov will be taking on Benson Henderson in the opening round, March 10th. On the co-main event, Tafik Musayev taking on Alexander Shabli. On the same card, Mansour Barnaoui taking on Sidney Outlaw, May 12th. AJ McKee, Patricky Pitbull, two former champions colliding in the opening round. We do not know when the date and what the card will be. But we do know that is the matchup. Angel, dude, this is fucking awesome news. I love this. I love these fights. I mean, what is your first reaction, man?
Matchmaking is beautiful. I think they did everything right as far as putting who and who against each other to start off the rounds. I don't know who's on what side of the bracket and how it's going to all work out and, or how it could all play out, I guess is the proper way to word it. But, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. It's a smaller tournament because it's only 8 man, right? It's a smaller tournament.
Yeah, correct. It's an 8 man, and you mentioned, you don't know how the bracket works out. Let me tell you real quickly. Usman Benson will fight. The winner of that will fight the winner of Mansour Barnaoui and Sidney Outlaw. And then the winner of Tafik Musayev and Alexander Shabli will fight McKee Pitbull winner.
That's hot.
Yeah, I agree.
Big fan. Big fucking fan.
But, yeah, man. I mean, not a whole lot of thoughts on this one because obviously we'll be previewing these fights very soon because it starts on March 10th. But, yeah, man. I mean, I think it's about time to actually break into the actual action in terms of fights that actually did occur. UFC Vegas 67 went down last Saturday night from UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. Short notice middleweight main event. Well, I guess technically light heavyweight main event between Sean Strickland and Nassourdine Imavov. Strickland putting in that work, man. I mean, look, he's been a bit of an up and down guy, but we gotta go ahead and give props when it's deserved. Coming out here and facing a guy who's a rising contender, younger, looks in great shape, coming in on short notice, and he beats him. Unanimous decision. Picking up the win, Sean Strickland, getting back in the win column, ending his 2-fight losing streak. Angel, what do you think about the decision? What do you think about the fight? And Sean Strickland getting back in the win column.
I mean, I thought itself was all right. Not the best, not the worst, obviously, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, good for Sean, right? Obviously, he had 2 losses in there. That one that was pretty bad. Obviously, Alex Pereira. Other one, and Jared Kennedy, which he thought he won. You could argue. But he took it on short notice. Came in, didn't have to cut a lot of weight. He's doing his thing, and ended up working out for him. He caught his stride in the fight. He looked pretty comfortable. Obviously, we saw that in the later rounds. It kind of seemed like him carrying that little bit of extra weight was kind of like oof. He wasn't used to it. But yeah, no, I mean, it was kind of a nice way to bounce back. And for Nassourdine, I mean, he's young. I don't think he loses a lot of stock or anything here. Or he ends up, dropping in the rankings or anything because of this. I mean, he's 26 years young, man. I mean, he has a lot of time in this sport, and he's faced some pretty strong competition already and some young guys that are really good. So he'll be back. I'm not sure against who. I feel like maybe they decide to run it back with Kelvin at 185. Actually get that 185, and whenever Kelvin's ready to return to the octagon. But Sean seemed to get pretty comfortable in there and ended up getting the victory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, honestly, a very solid win by him. I was actually pretty impressed. Imavov is a tough guy. We kind of figured that he slows down as the fight goes on. And we knew that if Sean could get through those early rounds, it's going to be smooth sailing for him. It ended up being the case. Impressive win by him. Co-main event, though. This fight I was admittedly more excited for. But Dan Ige, dude. God damn. David Jackson came in here. We both picked him for the upset. And, wow, that did not go down the way we expected. Danny get a highlight reel walk-off knockout in the second round. Just devastating win, man. Not a whole lot of thoughts on this one outside of, I feel bad for Damon Jackson, but Dan 50K Ige back in the win column.
I don't know, yeah, well deserved, right? I mean, he was in a bad little stint there. I thought it was Damon Jackson's time, Josh. I thought he was stringing it together. He's obviously on the older end a little bit there. And, it seemed like, it was going to be his time. He was about to do some shit and establish himself, put himself in the rankings up there, get those big names, push for the belt, get them fucking dubs, set himself up for greatness. And Ige was there to stop it.
Yeah, true, man. True. Very impressive win by him. As far as the rest of the card goes, it was a solid night. I like the main card. The prelims weren't as interesting, but still pretty solid night of fights, man. What are some of the ones you're most looking forward to discussing?
Oh man, well, which one do I want to start with? I mean, let's start off with Umar Nurmagomedov. I mean, Josh, we kind of knew, right, how this fight was probably gonna go. Obviously, sick highlight finish out of him. A knee instantly followed up by a hook in very short distance. As he was throwing up the knee, I don't know if you've seen the video, Josh, in slow motion, he was already bringing the hook in too at the same time. Fucking savage.
Yeah.
Goes in for the ground and pound. I think he gets one fist in, sees he's out, puts his hand behind the head to stop the reverb, and gently lays him down, Josh.
Yeah, man, he put him to sleep and tucked him in. Hell of a guy.
Oh my God, Josh. That's a TikTok right there.
Hell of a guy, honestly, though. I mean, his shit, dude, it was impressive. I mean, he knocked him. Jokes aside, the most impressive part, besides the knockout itself, how quickly he switched from, I gotta murder this guy to, all right, look, this is my boy right here. I gotta go ahead and make sure he's all right, man. Like, that's actually a pretty nice thing to do. But I mean, hey, dude,
is that Giga Chad move out of Umar right there?
That is a Giga Chad move. But yeah, man, hell of a win. I mean, as far as the rest of the card goes, man, I mean, I gotta go ahead and give a shout out to my girl Rocky Pennington. I said it on Twitter, dude.
Did you think she won that fight?
It was close. It was close.
Okay.
Well, dude, hey.
If you were in Vegas, who would you have scored the fight for?
I scored it for Caitlin Vieira. Yeah, 29-28 easy.
But just like, I still gotta shout her out though, nevertheless.
Well, I mean, you saw Caitlin Vieira's last fight. I mean, are you really gonna cry about her getting?
No. You're not wrong. I mean, she put herself in this situation.
And had a close fight with Misha Tate. She's gotten the nod in a couple of close ones lately.
Her potential is so high. She just doesn't let it go.
No, she does not. But I mean, look, dude, I do got to go shout out Rocky. Most low key winning streak in the UFC right now. Unbeaten in 3 years, 5 fights in that stretch. Marion Renault, Piani Kinzad, Macy Chiasson, Aspen Ladd, Caitlin Vieira. Angel, is that worthy of a title shot? I think that is.
She's about to have a kid, right? Which is even crazier.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I do think that's worthy of a title shot. I really do think it is. I think if this were any other division for women's bantamweight, we'd be like, oh shit, why have they not got a title shot yet? I mean, who else would she fight?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's no one else. I think, but like I said, she's about to have a kid. So I think it'll be a little while before we see a title shot inbound.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean, she probably should have. I'm shit. Outside of Pena 3, I literally don't know. But I don't think there's a huge demand for that either. So.
If Raquel Pennington does end up fighting for the title, when do you think we see that fight? Because I think they're due for in 2 weeks or some shit like that, or in a week or something crazy like that.
I have no idea.
I mean, probably, I'm assuming late this year.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Sometime in July, August maybe?
Yeah, maybe. But
I feel like it'll be some time.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyways, man, Raquel Pennington, solid win. Didn't think she won, but, happy to see her get the nod.
By the way, best gender reveal ever, just saying.
Oh, 100%.
You saw it?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, but I gotta go ahead and shout out Roman Kopylov. Solid knockout win. Also on the undercard, I gotta go and shout out my boy Abdul Hazak Al Hassan. Let's go, man. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's had some rough years. Judo Thunder, coming off a split decision loss to Buckley. He's a guy, he's 37 in the welterweight division. He's missed weight several times. Actually, I think he's at middleweight now, if I remember correctly. But, regardless, he's missed weight several times. He's an older guy. He's lost a lot of fights lately. Damn well the UFC was probably hoping Claudio Ribeiro was going to win.
I did not know this man was 37.
He does not look 37. No, he does not look 37.
A black don't crack.
That's
Back
true.
to that track.
That's true, but dude, hey, look, full props to him who's out there, gets the knockout win, super impressive. Couple of fights in the card, Alan Nascimento picking up a win, Daniel Arquette picking up a win, Charles Johnson with the first stoppage of 2023, controversial one. I thought it was, meh. I wasn't too mad about it. Would have preferred if they let it go. What were your thoughts on that stoppage before we go ahead and move on?
Obviously, I feel a certain type of way about it for my own reasons, but regardless, taking all that away, I did think it was premature. I was kind of like, come on, I don't know. I felt like he should have been given the opportunity to continue going. I think he was still in it. He wasn't out. He was. I felt like he was still trying to put himself, trying to get himself out of danger. Like he was still there. He was still thinking. I don't know. But it is what it is. I don't know. Maybe the ref did end up saving him, and I'm just being selfish.
Well,
maybe I'm just a terrible person.
No, I mean, I thought it was a bad stoppage. I would have preferred if they let it go. I wasn't too angry about it, but
I don't know, Josh. I was on Unleash the Violence that night.
Well, regardless. I mean, any other thoughts on some other car fights before we go ahead and move on to our next recap?
No, I mean, you highlighted a lot of the main ones. I just want to highlight, I don't know if you mentioned Javid Basharat, but if you didn't, he was the guy who fought on the Contender Series, who fought, I believe, a Israeli fighter. Do not quote me on that, but I believe so. We do not fact check on the show, so.
No, we have Courtside Soundoff facts. They're our own.
Yeah, so he fought on that, and his opponent called him a fucking terrorist.
Oh shit!
Hey, and my guy beat him, so he won.
Yeah, I remember that. And the Dana was like, "See, we don't do anything because it works itself out,"
But,
like, so what if the other guy would have won?
Right? But he's got to go on 14-0. He's looking like a nice little prospect at 135, and like we say, man, this is one of the strongest divisions in the whole planet. It's just one more guy in the mix, and credit to his opponent, he was tough. I just think that he was missing a few little things here and there, and maybe things would have worked out differently. But hey, man, that's how it ends up going. He's 10-1. I mean, he still has a long career ahead of him. I'm pretty sure he's pretty young as well. So no shame in that. He's a tough kid. I mean, he's 24 years old. He can only go up from here. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. He'll be back. I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, man. I mean.
The real event of the week, Josh. Come on, just get.
I mean, come on. This is
the highest level of combat that occurred this weekend, Josh.
Okay, now look, I understand. Some of you who may listen to the show, we've got thousands of people listening, so it makes sense. Some of you may not be YouTube boxing fans. I completely get it. Skip forward because I have to admit this was by far the most entertained I was all weekend. I just got to go ahead and praise it for a little bit, man. I mean, Misfits Boxing 4, KSI's boxing promotion. This card. Top to bottom. I mean, fuck me. This was so much fun. This was so much fun, dude. I mean, we gotta go ahead and say it, dude. I mean, let's just be honest. So first of all, let's
God, Josh, you got me bricked up over here, dude. You're like one room away from me.
I mean, let's go ahead and hit it off with the main event. KSI. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Huh?
Highlight finish.
Highlight reel. Facing Faze Temper. I understand some people are like, he's facing another YouTuber. Like, Faze Temper is legitimately, like, as far as YouTube boxing goes, pretty decent guy. He's 3-1 prior to this fight. Got a couple of nice wins. Knocked out friend of the show Overflow in a round. But Temper's pretty good at boxing. KSI made him look like he's just that Faze sniper though, which shows and because of how his previous opponents did on the undercard, which I'll talk about in a minute, I think JJ's better than a lot of people kind of, figured. What do you think about that, man?
I mean, he came back strong. I mean, it was a sick finish. He came out with a MVP-esque stance and finish, which we saw that kind of overtook Twitter and Instagram, which was sick to see that kind of similarity. I loved it, and obviously both English guys, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, that was just, if you guys have not seen it, which I'm not sure how you could not have seen it. I mean, this was, I feel like KSI has kind of been waiting for that big, everybody knows who he is, right? But I feel like everybody's kind of been looking for that big highlight reel finish to kind of hype themselves up for a potential date with Jake Paul. Dude, this did it. This was highlight reel made him look like he didn't even belong in the same fucking arena as him. And that's extremely impressive, and he did get me excited for a potential Jake Paul fight. I mean, now granted, he's gonna have one fight before that. He has to win that one.
Supposedly, I mean, Josh, this is boxing. They could go on negotiations for like 5 more years.
That's true, because I mean, shit, Ryan and Gervonta, they may not fight, so
right.
I mean, just crazy. But I mean, as far as
not even that, Josh. Let's go deeper. Bud Crawford, Earl Spence.
Oh God. Yeah.
Right there, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm still angry about that one. But anyway, no, I a little bit, still a little bit pissed off about that one. But I mean, look, that one can happen in time, but probably won't. But I mean, as far as Jake Paul and KSI goes, could happen, could not happen. I do think the wise decision for KSI would be to take one more tune-up before he goes in there, especially considering Jake's probably fighting Tommy Fury, and Tommy Fury's actually a legitimate test, you know? Yeah, I mean, solid knockout, but I feel like the knockout was just, the knockout was impressive about like itself, but I feel like part of the reason why the knockout was so much fun and so crazy is because of how fucking good the undercard was. I mean, Angel, we just gotta go one down, dude. Tom Zanetti and fucking our boy Slim beat the dog shit out of each other for 4 rounds. I mean, what are your thoughts on that one?
I mean, I didn't expect a lot of this. Tom Zanetti was a complete unknown to us who've been watching these guys, these YouTubers, these personalities coming into this, the celebrity boxing game, right? So I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I was like, he looks, somewhat athletic, looks decent on pads, whatever. But I was like, I mean, Slim is one of those guys, at least for me, when it comes to the creators that I was super high on. I mean, I am still super high on him. He kind of slowed down his last 2 matches, though. I mean, Ryan Taylor, I mean, it was cool, but no finish out of him. I mean, obviously the competition's getting harder, but at the same time, though.
I mean, he's no Swarms.
Yeah. So. And then another no finish against Tom Zanetti, but I mean, he's talking about it being he's thinking about changing weight classes because he's like, this ain't it, I'm gonna have to vacate the title, I can't be the ICB World lightweight heavyweight title champion anymore, he's like, I'm gonna have to maybe switch it up and go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably wise for him to go down. I feel like we're kind of seeing that maybe the power's not as there as much as we thought. I mean, I don't think he looked bad. This fight was a banger. I expected to be actually pretty good because I thought Tom Zanetti was pretty fucking solid, at least based off what I'd seen of training footage and hitting the pads and so on and so forth. So I wasn't surprised that Slim struggled a little bit. That's pretty much what I expected. I am interested to see who he fights next. I can tell you who nobody wants to fight next, though.
I mean, this might be the opponent, Josh.
It might be motherfucking Salt Poppy, the greatest Filipino of all time.
He has taken over. He has taken over this whole thing.
Not just boxer, Angel. I just mean Filipino in general.
Right?
I mean, jokes aside, he goes out there and he annihilates Josh Bruckner. Not even close.
I mean, Josh, if you didn't know any of these guys' backgrounds or what they did or their kind of experience or anything, and we told, or if we just said what Josh Bruckner's done in his life as an athlete. I mean, all the odds would be against Salt Poppy, but yeah. Fuck, man, he set him up, didn't he? He was waiting for it too. I mean, the entire time I'm like, what is he about to do? I could tell. I could just tell. I was like, he's about to do some shit here. Mm-hmm. And he did. Finish of the night, yeah. I'd say.
Easy finish of the night. I mean, are you kidding me? I expected Salt Poppy to win. I expected if he did not win, at the very least it'd be close. I mean, you could just tell, like, he's fought nobodies. Not nobodies necessarily, but he's fought in guys that are clearly not at the same level, in the same pedigree, with the same training that he has. But it's, like, the way he beat some of those guys, like, you could just tell there was some fucking skill there. But then he went out there and made Josh Bruckner look, like, slightly better than Andy Worski, you know what I mean? Like, that's how impressive that was. But
I think we need Slim versus Salt Poppy.
I think that makes sense. That's a solid progression there, especially considering Saul Poppy once, he wants a big name.
Yeah, but that's it right there. Both undefeated as in the promotion, right, and in general. It's perfect. Someone's out has to go.
Exactly. We'll see who he faces next. I think that there's
hope we see him again this year, no matter what, though. Like I hope we see him again soon. I mean, like I think we talked about it last week, right? They signed a big deal for how long?
5-year deal with DAZN.
Just crazy. I mean, this is year 1 right here, so let's see it, baby.
We will see. Yeah, man. I mean, any other thoughts on some of those undercard fights? I mean, obviously, we do got to discuss the return of the great Luis Alcaraz Pineda. I mean, Jesus Christ.
They brought him back, Josh. He was the mystery opponent. I mean, we were thinking Wasabi. We were thinking some other people that I can't think of off the top of my head. But the big one was Wasabi, right? That everybody thought I think even Alex had like teased his weight on fucking Instagram. And I was like, whoa, did he just give it away? Did he just leak it? I think another one that they mentioned was, oh my god, the kid's name is skipping me right now. The guy that, Anderson Gibb fought on the Ace family card. I can't remember.
McBroom, Austin Crew.
No, not Austin. The one that Anderson Gibb fought. I can't remember his name right now. It's skipping me. But regardless, I think there was rumors of his opponent. I think they wanted.
Oh, you mean Landon McBroom, maybe?
No, not Landon McBroom. It wasn't the McBroom. It was the other.
You said it was the Ace family, though.
It was the Ace family card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Regardless, though.
Oh shit! Now I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of his name.
Yeah, you see his face. Yeah,
I can't think of his name though.
But Luis Alcaraz Pineda, man, came back. They did it very well. I mean, they set him up. They set him up for success. Actually, he just had to show up. B-Day probably shat his pants.
I would.
I mean, the fucking Undertaker music, and then it switches to mariachi band, and he came back. He said they gave him the call like 2 months ago. He was training, and he took it. First chance he had I don't know if former or at one point or a currently versatile cruiserweight champion in his corner. I believe I could be wrong. I think he's Austrian. I forget it, but he was there. He was in his corner and coached him, and he was. I guess they were a very big fan. They were very happy to help Luis, and Luis got a dub. And I talked to Josh privately, or I was talking to Josh in the green room, I should say, and we were discussing kind of like the card and a bunch of other things before we started the show. And I mentioned to him, and Josh had read some stuff too that he mentioned to me, but before the show, I was like, man, he was so emotional after that. And I think some people don't even realize this because, no one gave a fuck about Luis Pineda after his fight with JJ. He actually fought 2 more times after that and lost, both finishes. And he came back to where he got, embarrassed, back to where he had this bad loss, where he wasn't able to shine in front of the bright lights. It was just too much for him to handle. And he redeemed himself. He redeemed himself and got a lot of love from the crowd, a lot of love from the people. And he was able to get that win. And you see, man, he dropped to his knees. He got all emotional. You kind of wonder why, why is he being so dramatic? But it was because of that. The whole moment, everything behind it caused those emotions and set him up from that moment right there. I mean, there was a lot to that, in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even just beyond his whole personal story, like, there's just something so fucking cool about the fact that this kid who just was a nobody this time last year, not even just this time 6 months ago, less than 6 months ago. I mean, in August, is when he got the call to fight JJ on like a week notice. His entire life's been completely changed, and that's something that's very, very cool, and you don't really see too often either. So, for that reason, and for him just to be able to go ahead and get some fucking redemption, you know what I mean? Like, for him to go out there and to just, it was just so fucking cool, man. I mean, obviously it was the kind of like, he's kind of been always like a meme since that fight where people like call him the GOAT or whatever. But like, shit, dude, I got hype. I was like, fuck yeah, man. Like, good for this kid, I say kid, he's like 2 or 3 years older than me, but still, like, he looks like he's 12, so,
He does have very young boyish look.
He does, But, anyways, man, it's a hell of a win by. Could not be happier for that kid. As far as the undercard goes, man, I mean, we got to go ahead and talk about Swarm's One Punch Man. I mean, going out there and
Yeah, dude, Swarm decided to become a fucking Saitama that day.
for real, goes out there, lands like, to be fair, you could just tell, like, oh, this motherfucker's been training his ass off. Like, he looks in completely different shape. He actually seemed to be shimmying. He was throwing like a double jab out there. Like, he was very, very quick.
Yep. Didn't look like a bag of milk.
Huh?
Didn't look like a bag of milk.
He does not look like a bag of milk anymore. He goes out there and lands like a fucking just a clean jab in the opening seconds, and like broke the dude's orbital, broke Ryan Taylor's orbital. Boom, end of fight. I mean, fuck, dude, gotta be happy for him. Elle Brooke, the what's her, the something bomber, the baby bomber, the baby bomber, going out there and get a first round win over Faith Ordway, who to be fair, I did not know either one of these women prior to this fight. I still don't know much about either one of them.
I think they're both TikTok people.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so it was a fun fight, so that was cool.
Yeah.
But and then friend of the show, Anthony Taylor. I mean, taking on Idris Virgo. Dude's got balls, but whenever you're facing a 12-0 fucking boxer, I mean, that's not gonna be easy. So yeah, man.
Yeah. You know, I was like, man, they did our boy Pretty Boy Taylor kind of dirty there, man. I saw
they really did, yeah.
Saw them with Virgo, and I was like, I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, he did come up short. Showed a lot of heart though. So it is what it is. I mean, any closing thoughts on this card before we move on?
It was fun, man. I mean, I don't know how their next card's gonna do. I mean, they got Chase Winkler leading it again, and they had him headline another one, and it ended in a finish. But I just don't. I don't know. They haven't announced any other people for that, I don't believe. But hopefully they could get some kind of fun names under that and kind of make it really entertaining, because that's coming up in February, near the end of February. I mean, we're a little over a month away to be in England again, but they're scheduled to have their next event in the U.S., so I guess we'll find out who that'll be. That'll be in April, so we'll be a ways away from that.
Yeah. Anyways, man, I mean, you brought up Jason Winkler. I'm happy. You know what I feel like? They're kind of doing like almost like a UFC model, but they're not like labeling it like Misfits Fight Night blank. It's just like Misfits Fight Night 5, and like this card just so happens to have way less big names than the other one. You know what I mean? No,
but yeah, you're not wrong. That's actually a really good way to put it, Josh. And I think they'll function. I think with the kind of I mean, we got to say, just the athletes they have, it works. You know?
Yeah.
With the level, it works, and I'm curious to see how far it can go. You know, I mean, they've made titles, Josh. I mean, and there's title defenses now. I mean, it's pretty set up, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, yeah, they honestly, they're doing an incredible job building this thing. I mean, they've kind of figured out the model.
You know something I just thought about while we've been talking about this? Dennis, you know, just not even in thought, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dylan's at home kind of like, dang, good thing I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Dylan Dennis. I mean,
yeah, you don't want to give him any attention, Josh?
I have zero fucking interest in discussing anything. I might as well just discuss like fucking.
Give Dylan what he wants, Josh. Come on, Josh, give Dylan what he wants and let him say.
Also, I should rather just discuss literally anything else, you know. But
okay, Josh, 10-7, Josh.
But anyways, man, that's all we got from Misfits Boxing. It's UC 283. It is fight week, boys. We're back with the pay-per-view. Doesn't really feel like a pay-per-view week, but
it fucking is, Josh.
It fucking is. I mean,
the fuck's the energy at, Josh?
I mean, I don't know why. This card just feels off to me, man. I can't explain it, but
do you not have Dragon Cock energy right now? Is that what I'm hearing out of you?
Well, not right now, but maybe come Friday night.
Okay. I mean, I always have Dragon Cock energy on Friday nights, if you know what I'm saying.
Anyways, man.
Josh is like, moving on.
This is going to be the first time the UFC will be back in Brazil since March 2020. Even then, they did not have any actual fans in attendance during that night, thanks to COVID. But look, dude, 2 title fights, excellent main card, some solid undercard fights, too. Let's go and hit off with the headliner. Glover Teixeira, the former champion. Angel, This man, you ever talk about Tom Brady? Glover Teixeira is 43 years old. And it's in a sport where you get punched in the face for a living. Taking on Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. This kid, man, I say this, he's a 31-year-old man from Chicago, Illinois, who has like 8 kids. But this kid, man.
He has 8 kids?
According, Wiki says he has 6.
Fuck, okay. Shut up.
But anyways, he's only 31. He's got time to put in those numbers, but.
Like our boy Cowboy Oliveira, right?
Correct, yeah. Anyways, 3-fight winning streak for him. His only loss was a TKO loss to Paul Craig when he broke his arm. Since then, though, 3 knockout wins in a row. Jimmy Crute, Johnny Walker, Thiago Santos, just demolition jobs. I don't think anybody expected Jamal Hill to be in this position this early in his UFC career. Obviously, he just got into the UFC. There's a Contender Series back in 2019, made his debut in 2020. Only a couple of fights under his belt, handful of them. Yet he's fighting for the title. He's facing just this Brazilian legend, former champion, Angel. I'm very psyched for this fight, man. Give me your thoughts on it.
Look, it's fun. Obviously not exactly what I wanted. No disrespect to the fighters. Obviously it's nice to see Glover in there. I think 100% we want to see Glover. Obviously no hate to Jamal Hill. Obviously I'll definitely enjoy the fight with him. Any fight he's ever in, I will always enjoy. It's just that, there was like 3 other names that I would have rather seen, I'm just going to be completely honest. But, nevertheless, it doesn't mean that, it doesn't take anything away from the fight that it's him. As far as the matchup itself, it's hard, right? Obviously Jamal Hill has shown some impressive, power. He's obviously continuing to grow and learning on the job at all times. Obviously, he had Anthony Smith in his camp recently to come in. I think he came in and helped a few days, obviously, since Anthony had fought Glover previously, and Anthony has a jiu-jitsu game himself that maybe could give Jamal some help or something, or give him a different perspective. But I'm gonna go Glover, Josh. I think Glover's gonna get it done again. I just think the fight on the ground for Jamal Hill is gonna be too much. And let's not forget, Josh, the way the fight got to the ground in that Jan Blachowicz fight was Glover hurt Jan on the feet first, and then he went for the takedown, and the fight ended on the ground, and it was pretty much wraps over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I'm very interested in this main event. But I will say that I think if you're Glover Teixeira, you're 43 years old, man. This is the ideal matchup for you, probably. No wonder you saw how big a smile was UFC 282 when the fight got announced on fight night. You know what I mean? That dude was smiling his ass off. He's facing a guy who, Jamal Hill, he's on a great run right now, but we did, not even a year and a half ago, we saw him get his arm snapped by Paul Craig. Thiago Santos had success wrestling him. There's a clear path to victory for Glover Teixeira here. I think he's going to become UFC light heavyweight champion again on Saturday nights. 2-time. I'm assuming you're on the same page, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way he goes to Brazil. He's this old. He's worked this hard and doesn't leave it all out there again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I think that he knows that his time is limited. I just don't see a way the Glover Teixeira with, at this age, in this opponent where there's such a clear stylistic advantage for him. I think if he took Yuri Prochazka's crazy shit for 5 rounds, I think he could take on Jamal Hill. I'll put it like that.
Yeah.
And I like Jamal a lot. And I think he's going to have moments in this fight. I just don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree.
Mm-hmm. But co-main event is arguably as big as the main event itself. Deiveson Figueiredo, Brandon Moreno, 4th time, my friend. The quadrilogy going down. These guys have spent 3 years of their prime just going back and forth with each other.
That's fucking lit, dude.
You will now see it once again. Angel, your thoughts, man? This fight is the closest one to call on the card because all 3 other fights have been. I guess the second one wasn't that close, but it's still very, very compelling. Pretty much all the fights there have been competitive moments in there. What do you think about this one, man?
Let's say it as it is, man. 4th matchup. These gentlemen know each other very well. Obviously, Brandon Moreno going through some stuff, having to change coaches again. I guess he didn't necessarily have to the first time around. It was a personal choice he wanted to make to elevate his game, and he felt like he needed it to become champ. I don't know exactly why he decided to, but this is kind of speculation off the top of my head or my personal thought. But, Josh, I think it's the year of the return, just like Glover's going to return to that belt. I think Brandon Moreno's going to return to that belt, man. And in this series, only one of the two fighters has been finished in their three fights, and in the fourth fight, I mean, who knows what could happen. I think Brandon Moreno's got, Davison Ferreira's number. I don't think Davison's going to be able to recreate, what he did in that previous fight. I think Brandon had lost maybe a little bit of focus, kind of didn't do certain things the way he wanted to, kind of, I don't want to say let it slip by, but kind of a little overconfident, showboating a little bit in the match. I want that focused Brandon Moreno that we got in that second fight, man, where he came in, he was looking clean, he dominated the whole fight through, he had advantages on the feet, he had advantages on the ground, and he finished it. I want to see that Brandon Moreno again. I think we will see it again in Brazil. I think Brandon Moreno will be now 2-time champ at flyweight and will recapture his belt.
Yeah, that's possible. That is very possible. But, Angel, I don't live in fairy tales. I'm not going to pretend that the assassin baby's going to go down there and get it done. David Figueroa is fighting in his home country.
Just you wait, Josh. Just you wait.
Dude, Dace DeGuerra is going to go out there and fuck up your boy. That's all I'm saying, Angel, man. I'm sorry to...
That's what you think, Josh. That's what you think.
And I honestly... It's going to be a close fight. I just like riling you up. I'm going to take Figueroa, though.
It's going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger.
Yeah, it's going to be a banger, dude. I mean, look, dude, the first fight was...
I want violence.
Huh?
I want violence.
But you're going to get violence. That first fight, dude, I mean, Figueroa should have won, but obviously he couldn't stop kicking downstairs, if you know what I mean. Lost the point. Brandon Moreno won the second fight, obviously submission. And I wouldn't say dominated the fight, but like, that was his night. You know what I mean? Like, he was not going to be stopped. Figueroa goes out there and outpoints him in the third fight, knocked him down a couple times, well, multiple times, I think 3 or 4, ended up winning by decision. I just think, man, he's had it over a year now with Cejudo, and I thought he actually had like some, he's implemented some good grappling into his game. I think he's at home. I don't see Figueroa losing. I just don't. I think like he's fighting in Brazil, he got what he wanted. He called for the fourth fight in Brazil. He gets what he wants. I don't think he's going to lose. So I'm going to take Figueroa to win the third fight in the, I guess, just technically be, second win in the quadrilogy. But you see what I'm saying.
You wait, Josh.
It could happen. I'm not even bullshitting.
Wait till I see you next time, Josh. Wait till I see you next time.
Wait till I see you at the Avatar 2 showing at 10 a.m. And you'll see,
we should have done a review of that shit live.
Probably. But, look, dude, Gilbert Burns, Neil Magny next up on the main card. Interesting matchup. Gilbert said he wanted a contender. He didn't say he didn't want a contender. He said he wanted a big name. Nick Diaz, and who else did he call out? He said, Masvidal. That's the other big one. Covington. None of them answered the call out, but you know who did? Mr. Old Reliable, the Haitian sensation, Neil Magny. Look, dude, love him or hate him. I don't think anybody has too strong. I don't think anybody hates Neil Magny, but you know what I'm saying. Like, this guy just always steps up no matter the fight. Won 3 of his last 4. Interesting matchup here, man. I thought he looked really good last time out. So what do you think about this fight?
I mean, I like it. I don't know if it's necessarily what I wanted to see for Gilbert as far as opponents. But it's not a bad matchup. Obviously, Neil Magny, like we say, a long-time commodity at 170. Gilbert found his home at 170 after being at 155 for such a long time, and we've seen his hands kind of be unleashed, and obviously we know the jiu-jitsu game is strong. I think in 3 rounds, Gilbert Burns has a lot to do here. I think if it was 5 rounds, Neil Magny, with his great conditioning and his ability to be super durable and bring it on. I probably maybe exit out the Neil Magny, but I think with 3 rounds, Gilbert Burns probably got this in the bag.
That's kind of the way I actually feel about it as well. I think that he's going to go out there and I think Gilbert Burns is fired up, man. And I think Neil Magny is actually going to have some success in this fight. I feel like this is a matchup that actually is kind of in his favor. I don't think Gilbert Burns is going to lose, though. I think he's going to have to get a solid statement win because I think that he's in a position right now where he knows his window's closed.
Oh, whoa, Josh, are you calling a finish or a submission? Is that what I'm hearing out of you?
Oh, my head, Angel. Oh, God. It's coming to me right now. Oh.
Wait. Really? You see it?
Third round omoplata.
Wait, you see Brandon holding the belt above his head.
Oh, fuck off.
with the Mexico flag in one hand and the other one in the belt in the other. And James Krause on the iPad.
That's how you know you're dreaming.
Right?
Oh, man. Anyways, next up on the main card, this one, you gotta give Lauren Murphy some fucking props, dude. I mean, this is a woman that's almost 40 years old, never expected to be here. She's just been fighting killer after killer for the last few fights, man. I mean, she lost to Shevchenko, came back, beat Miesha Tate. Now she's in a position here where she wins this fight. She might get a title shot, but it's gonna be tough. She's fighting Jessica fucking Andrade in Brazil. So, best of luck. I mean, what do you think about this one, man? I mean, Jessica Andrade still doing that thing where she's kind of bouncing back and forth between 125 and 115. I kind of like that, though, man. She's a bit of a tweener. She can find a good matchup, and this is one of those. I think it's a very fun fight, and then, well, it has the capacity to be a fun fight. But what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, we gotta give credit to Jessica Andrade, because no matter what, man, whatever division she's in, she's at least, at worst, the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is impressive. I mean, she's bouncing between two. She's competing against the best of the best in both divisions. I mean, she is a beast. And look, in a different world, Josh, she's champion in one of these divisions. Which one? I don't know. But if some of these girls didn't exist, she would be champion. She'd be dominating. She'd be getting finishes. She'd be a highlight reel. And look, she's still getting those finishes. She's still getting her highlights. Obviously, not to discredit her now. Obviously, falling short a few times now, sadly. But damn, she's one tough chick for anybody, man. I think she's one of the toughest outs for any female fighter. I think one of the best female fighters, I mean, ever. Just sadly hasn't captured that title. I don't believe she's never had the title, right, Josh? Not even an interim.
She was champion at strawweight. She knocked out Rose.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. She did.
But then lost it like 3 months later.
Yeah, I forgot she only had like a very short stint because she lost to Weili in China too.
Yeah, she did.
But I mean, nevertheless, I mean, look, former champ at that. Never mind. I forgot. She held it for a short period of time, but nevertheless, she did hold it. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna have to go Jessica Andrade here, Josh. I mean, like I said, I think she beats most women in either division, and I mean, is she kind of like the Robert Whittaker, Josh, of these two divisions? Kind of.
Kind of.
Not
necessarily.
Maybe like Marvin Vettori,
Yeah, I think that's probably the better way to put it, because we know that Marvin is like right there, but like we know that he's going to lose to some top guys, whereas Whittaker, we know he beats literally every other fighter on the planet, probably outside of Adesanya at middleweight. And we've seen that because he keeps on doing it, So it's a little bit different, but yeah, I mean, Jessica Andrade is a tough out for anybody. I think she's going to pick up a win here. I like Lauren Murphy a lot, man, and I think she deserves a greater respect from the MMA community, specifically because of her story and some of the fights that she has taken, which she hasn't really necessarily had to. If you look at the 125-pound division, like, there are some fights that you can take where it's like, win, lose, or draw, you're going to get out of there probably fine. You know what I mean? Like, Jessica Andrade, though, can change your entire life. So,
right.
Props to her. I do think Andrade could pick up a win, though. Opening up the main card, 2 light heavyweights, Paul Craig, Johnny Walker. Both of these guys trying to break into title contention. Paul Craig obviously had that fantastic win streak. I think it was like a 7-fight unbeaten streak if you include the draw with Shogun in there. Lost to Vulcan in July. That loss obviously snapped a winning streak. But he just signed a new fight deal with the UFC. He's going to be around for the long haul. He was discussing retirement a couple of years ago. Now he's in it. He wants to become champion. Johnny Walker, a guy that we once thought maybe he could be a title challenger. He ended up losing to Corey Anderson. He's had some rough moments since then, but he did submit, Guti Lop in a performance of the night win back in September. Do you think he makes it 2 in a row?
I think he can, man. I think on the feet, Paul Craig has nothing to offer Johnny Walker. And on the ground, Johnny Walker has a jiu-jitsu game. Obviously, Paul Craig has shown that on bottom he's dangerous. I'm sure he's dangerous on top as well and in multiple different positions. I think obviously intelligently Johnny Walker doesn't engage on the ground. I'm gonna have to go Johnny Walker, Josh. I think he could probably get Paul Craig out of there too.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too.
But at the same time though, Josh, I cut you off there. Mm-hmm. Paul Craig, Johnny Walker gets a little wild, jumps into his guard, maybe throws up a triangle, something. You never know. different conversation that night.
That's very true. I don't know, man. I think Johnny Walker's gonna go out there and get it done. I think he's going to. I think that if you look at on the mat, I think that obviously Paul Craig's better. I just don't think there's a big enough gap for him to go ahead and make up the difference. Like for him to go ahead and make it the difference enough to go ahead and get an easy submission win, like how he's done during his win streak. I think on the ground, Johnny Walker's not a killer, but he's pretty damn good. He's also huge for the division, massive guy,
super long.
So even if he gets him down, he's gonna be fucking. I don't know, man. He's gonna be huge on top of him. And then on the feet, I don't think he has anything to offer. So I'm gonna take Johnny Walker. Possibly by finish. I think, like, if you remember that Vulcan fight, once Vulcan started stuffing the takedowns, you know, if Vulcan had more left in the tank, if he wasn't going for such like a defensive win because he needed that win badly, probably could have gotten him out of there. Paul Craig got gassed as he kept on, you know, whiffing on the takedowns. I can see John Walker get him out of there. But as far as the prelims go, it's a couple of very solid matchups, man. What do you think about some of these fights on here?
Oh, man, there's pick and choose, right? I mean, there's a variety. I gotta highlight kind of one of the guys at 185 who's kind of been lingering there, Gregory Rodriguez, man. I mean, aka RoboCop. He's giving us some fun highlights recently, man. That Chidi and Jaquani fight, absolute banger. Obviously, Julian Marquez, another banger. You know, Casey's very young, sadly getting finished, but and, you know, it'd be like that, man. You know, still love Julian Marquez a lot. And one of our, I think one of the hottest prospects right now, 155, Terrence McKinney, Josh, fighting UFC newcomer, I believe, Ismail Bonfim, which I don't know a lot of, or don't know anything actually, I'll fully admit it. But should be interesting there. Obviously, Terrence, wanting to fight in Brazil, get to call it one of the few Americans, actually, yeah, I think one of 3 Americans on this card, including himself. So, or actually 4, forgot Lauren Murphy in there. Obviously nice seeing, you know, a little representation there, right? And, I think probably who should have been Rookie of the Year, Josh, last year, in my opinion, Halton Almeida. Taking on Shamil at 265. I love this, man. The bouncing between heavyweight and light heavyweight, I love that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm glad you shouted him out. I mean, I didn't want this matchup again. But, you know, I guess they're trying to just, you know, there's sometimes where UFC, like, focuses in on a matchup.
They want to get Shamil out of here, dude. That'd be 4 in a row.
They'll book it, like, 7 times in a row. But do you remember, like, whenever, this is just a recent example, because the UFC does this a lot, but, like, whenever Cowboy and Lozon fell out 2 times, Dana's like, fuck that, I'm not booking that again. Like, I'm pretty sure that's, paraphrasing, that's pretty akin to what he said at, like, a press conference once. But then, like, they booked Shamil versus Halton Almeida at least 5 times. At least that's what it feels like. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm excited for Halton Almeida to come back. I think he's gonna walk right through him. Terrence McKinney on the prelims. Very excited to see him back. I hope he gets a big matchup after this fight. Warley Alves, Nicholas Dalby, low-key banger, 2 welterweights. Josiane Nunes taking on Zara Farn dos Santos, who we've not seen, like, in almost 3 years. So it's interesting to see the latter make their return, Zara Farn. Cody Saman taking on Luan Lacerda on the prelims. Happy to see Cody Saman back. Obviously knocked out Eddie Wileman, former WEC great, in his last fight. Thiago Moises back. Mounir Lazzez back. Shout out Gregory Rodriguez. Biggest name though, Shogun Rua. 41, but he's not a Glover Teixeira 41. Shogun's looked like shot. That's the weird thing. Shogun Rua has looked shot as a fighter. Like, athleticism gone since, like, 2007.
Same.
But he just kept on winning fights. He would somehow win fights. Obviously, by 2007, it wasn't that bad. But, like, if you look at, like, his most recent win streak, like 2018, 2019, when he was actually beating some guys, I'm like, how the fuck is he doing this? Like, he moves like he's in sand, but yet he just keeps on winning fights. But he's lost his last 2. He lost a split decision to OSP, and then he got finished by Paul Craig. So, yeah, man, he's taking on Ilhor Peteria, last fight ever. I mean,
by the way, this is his. I believe I'm looking at it right now. His 24th fight in the UFC.
Fuck.
His record in the UFC, Josh, currently is 11-11, 1 draw. If he wins this, he ends his career with a positive record. If he loses, he ends his UFC career with a negative record.
Well, Angel, it's a good thing that he's only fighting a 26-year-old Ukrainian from Kyiv with an record of 18-3.
Hey man, that man's coming
Thank
off
God
a loss.
He's got an easy out. Like it's.
But he's coming off a loss, man. He's 0-1 in the UFC, man. I mean, at least he's got a little something there. There's a little something.
You know what? This is what, I'm gonna go and make. Fuck it. It's the end of the show, man. I'm gonna rant about this real quickly. The UFC has
No, fuck that, Josh. You say you're picking Shogun over.
I know. I'm not picking. Even if here's the
Josh,
problem, though.
Josh, you're actually dropping $500 on.
I bet my house on a 41-year-old Shogun.
Yes, Josh, you should bet your house. Actually, let me click it right now. What are those fucking odds? Let's see.
I think Ilhor is a -190 or something like that.
He's a +200, or he's a -200, and fucking Shogun's a fucking +170, dude. Easy fucking money.
That's the easiest money in my life.
Right, Josh.
Ilhor Pateria.
Josh, you should. No, it's not, dude. You're gonna bet on Shogun and Glover, the two 40-year-olds on this card.
The old fuck combination.
The two senior citizens on this card to win.
That's crazy. I mean, this is one. I just want to rant about this real quick. This is why the UFC's booking lately has just been so fucking bizarre. Like Shogun Rua, legend of the game, one of the greatest fighters to ever compete in light heavyweight, former champion, had one of the greatest runs of all time in Pride, specifically, and I want to say it was the 2003 Grand Prix open weight. It could be 2000. You get my point. He had just one of the greatest runs ever in a tournament in Pride. He was the 2005 Pride Middleweight Grand Prix champion, in case you're curious. Where in that stretch, I mean, if you guys, here's Shogun Rua during that stretch. Angel, do you know much about that stretch? Do you know about that?
I know it's dominant as fuck.
He knocked out Quinton Rampage Jackson.
Rampage.
He beat Antonio Rogerio Nogueira, Little Nog, by decision. He knocked out Alistair Overeem, and then he knocked out Ricardo Arona. And then goes to the UFC, becomes champion, beats some fucking incredible names, and now he's win, lose, or draw. He's facing Ilhor Pateria, who is an 0-1 guy in the UFC that came off the Contender Series. This is being the send-off for one of the most celebrated.
Who is she have fought, Josh? Who had he should have fought? Who should have been the fight?
You want to know?
Who?
Here's the problem. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but almost any name you can think of is better than this. It's not a joke, dude. I mean, if you think about the light heavyweight division, even if it's like a ranked guy, because you know what I mean? Like, you know how Fedor right now, he's going out fighting Ryan Bader. That's a tough-ass matchup whenever you're that age.
He wanted it, though.
But he wanted it because he wanted to challenge himself.
Because he's that guy.
He's fighting the champion. Shogun could have fought a ranked guy, but even if he didn't want to fight a ranked guy, he could have fought like an old legend. You know what I mean? He could have fought a guy, even somebody like fucking Devin Clark has a name. Is
Ed Herman still around?
Ed Herman's still around. There you go. Ed Herman's around. You know, we got fucking... I mean, Alonzo Menifield could be fun. You know, he's huge. I mean, fucking Volkan Oezdemir, they've never fought. I mean, just look Tyson Pedro, or the rematch. That would make some sense. Oh, man, Dominic Reyes has been murdered in every single one of his last few fights. Why not throw him a bone, you know?
God, Josh, I mean, someone's dying in all these scenarios, Josh. I mean, I really don't know what you're getting at here.
I'm just saying. I think, like, of all the guys that they could have given him, it's like...
I know, I'm just teasing.
0-1 Contender Series guy, like, that's your send-off for fucking Shogun Rua. Like, I don't know, man. Just disappointing. They could have brought... Leona Machida.
He probably should have retired his last fight, though. They probably should have retired his last fight.
Yeah. I mean, probably. I mean,
all right. At least, or he probably should retire like 3 fights ago. Let's actually be honest.
He probably should have retired a decade ago, but
a decade ago, 2013.
That's a joke. That's a joke. But apparently, it has just now come out. Breaking news: Jeff Molina has been officially suspended because of substantial involvement in the James Krause gambling scandal, per ESPN.
Just saw it. Breaking fucking news, guys. You heard it here live on the show.
Jesus Christ.
It only gets worse, huh? It's not the end of it, Josh. I'm calling you right now. This does not end here.
No, obviously not. But that's all we got for news, man.
Like Josh, like the great Conor McGregor said, "This isn't over."
Oh God, man. I mean, any closing thoughts before we end the show?
No, man. I mean, I'm excited to get back right into the mix, dude. Pay-per-view coming in hot in Brazil, full of Brazilian fighters. 2 titles on the line. I mean, hot fucking start to the year, Josh. I mean, it's fucking burning. I'm honestly need to get the fire extinguisher because my house is lit on fire right now. But I'm excited. I'm excited to get right back into it. Obviously, we get a week off after this upcoming week is done, which kind of fucking blows. Not gonna lie, because I don't really think there's anything going on next week. I mean, hey man, we'll figure something out. We always figure something out.
We'll figure it out.
Nevertheless, it actually, what episode is this? 198?
198.
Oh, okay. So coming up on the 200. Oh shit! Does that mean the 200 episodes would be the pay-per-view? 284? Oh shit!
Holy shit!
Didn't even think about that. Regardless, though, wanted to shout out everybody who came in through TikTok, all the people, all the new subscribers that are coming through the shorts. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It means a lot. The growth has been insane in the last month. Honestly, the last 30 days, Josh, I think we've gone around 20,000 views gained or some crazy shit like that, 15,000 views gained. So thank you to all our supporters out there. We hope you continue to enjoy our content. And, I'm excited to come back next week and record another episode and yell at Josh for an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Just the way we like it. But anyways, man, I hope you guys did enjoy. And, as he said, shout out to people that have been watching. We've been killing it on TikTok, killing it through just our standard YouTube channels and our, audio stuff. Seen a huge improvement, dude. And all to all the people that are new and old, thank you for listening to the show. Shout out to sponsors of the show, Rogue Energy and ELYXR, as always, fantastic sponsors of the show. They either get you good gains, get you fired up, or get you really fucking high. And that's really, somebody who does both. Fantastic for me personally, but and it could be good for you too. As far as myself, I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at AngelDick_01 at Courtside Sound for all things related to the show. Peace and butt grease. Mouse click.